So in this video, I want to talk about how you can get 5 stars on Airbnb on every single booking and how to do the Superhost formula, as I'm calling it. And this is every single checkout getting 5 stars. Now, the importance of this is because you get 64% more revenue if you're a Superhost compared to a standard host. So achieving a Superhost status on Airbnb is going to make you a lot of money. So how do you achieve a Superhost status and how does it change everything? So like I say, it's a 64% more revenue, okay? And 80% higher occupancy. And the minimum rating to be considered for Superhost status is 4.8 stars. So how do you achieve this, right? There's 4 criteria and all must be met simultaneously. So the overall ranking based off the reviews, so 4.8 or higher. Your response time, you need to be responding to 90% of inquiries, guest messages within 24 hours. So you can improve this with automated tools, which kind of make it the whole thing effortless. You know, if somebody inquires about one of my properties, Uplisting automatically sends them an automated response, and this does count towards your response rate. So it's very important you enable something like that. Minimum activity, you got 10 nights completed reservations within 100 days, or 4 reservations totaling at least 100 nights. Okay, and this is only your own listings. You can't be co-hosting with someone that's already a Superhost to try and piggyback off them. And your cancellation rate should be under 1%. Again, this is kind of easy to do. I never cancel bookings, even if I have something wrong with the property and I need to have, cancel the stay. I'll tell the guest, I'll explain the issue about what's happened, and I'll have them cancel it and they'll get a full refund. And by doing that, it doesn't play into your cancellation rates. So what are the 6 criteria that guests are scoring you on when they leave these reviews? Okay, number 1 is cleanliness. So you want your property professionally cleaned with a full cleaning checklist. I've got all this on the host handbook, free course on school, and my mentees get one as well. This is just to make sure your cleaners know exactly the point. If you just have cleaners go and they clean your property and they're not following a checklist of what's expected, they're going to want to get out there as quickly as possible because they want to get on with their lives, right? But if you have certain requirements like once a week, this needs doing, windows all need cleaning once a week, and changeover days, obviously bed stripped, and giving a list to your cleaners just to make sure that they stay doing what you want them to do is a must, okay, to achieve this. So cleanliness is one of the ways they score you. The second one is accuracy. So this is photos and description, and they are matching reality. One thing I do see is people have professional photography done of the property, and it looks amazing, but it's impossible for the reality of the property to live up to the professional photography because it's too good. Okay, you don't want your professional photographer to take too good pictures. It needs to be accurate to the property and it needs to look like what they're expecting, because this is one of the ways you're scored. So yeah, you may be getting more bookings by having them really, really good professional photography pictures, but it could affect your accuracy score. So there's trade-offs there. Number 3, communication. So speed, clarity, response rate, preempt questions, send the right messages at the right moment. We're going to get into a sequencing that I use for this. Okay, location. So you can't move the property, but you can set it as accurate and describe the area in context and be genuinely positive about the location. You want it to be, you can't move the property. You can't pick it up and put the house somewhere in Mayfair, can you? But just be honest about it, and just if they know where it was before they book it, the chances are they're not going to score the location badly because they already knew it. It's not going to come as a surprise to them. So location's another thing they're scoring. And then the check-in. So they're scoring the check-in process. So how do we make this as good for the guests as possible? I like to have key boxes as close to the property as possible, so it's not alienating them, it's not making them go on some massive side quest, having to pick up the keys here, and then it's not like a video game. We want it as easy as possible. Another way you can do this is some of my properties have smart locks where it's just a keypad that you put it in, so they don't even need a key to unlock the door. That's another great way. So just have a really clear guide. The best way to do this is have a walkthrough video. So on YouTube, have an unlisted link that you send them, and then they can watch it and they see you physically walk to the key box location, pick up the keys, take the keys to the door, walk into the apartment, in the lift, go up to the floor, whatever, and go to the apartment, use the key to unlock the door. That is idiot proof, okay? Anyone that watches that video knows how to get into the apartment. And by making a video like that, yeah, it's going to take 5-10 minutes of your day. But once you do that, it's easy from there, because you're not going to be replying to guest messages, explaining the system. You can just give the link and have that automated. Makes check-in super easy for the guest. So, and that's something they're scoring you on. And if you want to get 5-star reviews, you need to have a simple check-in process. And then 6 is value. So guests don't expect cheap, they expect fair, okay? So strong welcome pack, make the nightly rate feel like a great deal. You know, obviously we're all using demand pricing software like Price Labs. And if it is Oasis, if it is Park Life, Manchester Marathon's on, if Man United playing, for my example with Manchester, the nightly rate's going to go higher. But you don't want them to be too high, because then people are going to feel ripped off. And if they're feeling ripped off, they're going to leave you a bad review, saying it wasn't value for money and you're not going to get your 5-star rating. So we touched on it a bit before, but the 7-message communication sequence that I like to use. Okay, so they book the property, they need a booking confirmation email, so or message, and in that message it's going to say the basics about the property. So I like to have the sleeping arrangements, I like to have the location of the key box, I like to have the location of the property if they're different, I like to have Google Maps links so they can easily click that, get directions, key information you need to know, like what the parking arrangements are of that property. If you haven't got free parking, streets that are nearby that they can park at, or, you know, multi-stories in the area that you can link to. By doing this, you're also eliminating questions. You're eliminating their need to message you and have somebody message them, or, you know, use the AI messaging that I talk about in some of my videos, because all the information's there. So they just get a big block of like text, because there's not really any way of doing it. I mean, you could record like a welcome video and explain the property and do that. That might make you a bit unique. I don't bother with that. But they get a block of text and it just has directions, all the key information of the property, and that's their booking confirmation. So that there sets them up to know loads of stuff. 48 hours before, I've got the pre-arrival, so I've got a bit more information. Again, I reiterate things like the parking, the check-in process, and I also like to, in this one, offer early check-in, late checkout, because like you're going to get a lot of people that want to drop off the bags earlier than 3 p.m. if 3 p.m. is your check-in time. And what I do is I'm like, yes, if you want to just drop off your bags, I'll get into it a little bit when I send the check-in, like full check-in guide, but yeah, I say we offer £30 upsell. You can check in 3 hours early. I'll arrange this with the cleaners. The cleaning might not be completely complete, but you can access the property early and give them that option. It's also a great upsell. You're going to make more money, and it's providing convenience to the guest. So the day of the check-in, again, this is where they get the door code, the Wi-Fi in the message. They've got the full video that I spoke about before on YouTube of how to walk through the property. I can't send it really any earlier, because then you're going to get people that aren't going to do the upsells, and they're also going to turn up to the property early because they've already had the guide. So I lock this away. This goes at 2 p.m. for a 3 p.m. check-in. Okay, they get all the information. Again, it's reiterating some of the stuff they already know, but door code, Wi-Fi, again, parking, emergency contact number, etc. So 24 hours after the check-in, we have the mid-stay check. This is where we message them. Normally I like to do this not automated. I like to be like, hey, just checking in, is everything okay? And if they say yeah, but there's not enough toilet roll or something like that, or they have like an issue, sometimes they're always normally minor things like, you know, do you know where the key is for a window, or etc. Here is a great place to, if they do have any issues, to resolve them before they check out and leave a review. And if you are prompt, like I had someone that had an airbed the other day and they were like, oh, we can't find the pump. If you have your cleaners go and drop off a new pump pretty quickly, then, you know, you've resolved something that might have, like, you know, been pulled up in a review in a few days' time when they check out. You've checked in, it shows that you care about them, it shows that you want them to have a good time, and it's a great opportunity to put things right. So day before checkout, we have the checkout reminder message. Here again, I offer them the late checkout upsell. I make sure everything's okay, and it just self-explanatory. It's just reminding them the steps to check out. So put the keys back in the original key box that you collected them from, etc. Then the sixth message is the farewell. So warm close, and then you can write them a review immediately. And then 24 hours after that, you review request, you know, and do a review. So what I do in this is I have it automated on Airbnb. So unless I click skip message, and if the guest was complaining and being a nightmare and I don't want them to like urge them to write a review because I don't think it's gonna be good, I just click skip. But then I send out, and my review message is, hey, thank you so much for staying with us. I'd really appreciate it if you left me a review. It helps us grow. And then I offer, if you do, we offer a 25%. Well, the way I word it is kind of like, yeah, I strongly insinuate that they get a 25% discount on their next stay if they leave a review, but because of Airbnb rules, you can't really do that. So I just word it in a way like, hey, we leave a 20% discount for returning customers. I'd really appreciate it if you leave a review. It helps us grow. Safe journey home, things like that. So that's kind of how I do it. And that is my 7-message a communication sequence from the booking till the leaving process. And this covers all the bases. And if you implement something like this, you've got a good chance of getting them 5 stars. So another great way to strongly encourage people to leave great reviews and help you get your Superhost status is having a welcome pack. So the essentials, you can also have these digitally. Obviously, some of these things are physical that need to be there, but like a digital welcome pack that has the Wi-Fi code, appliance guide, you know, some with apartments, Manchester, the hot water sometimes doesn't work. So, you know, like, you know, where to click the boost button for the hot water, things like that, emergency contacts, local A&E details. Number 2 is toiletries, obviously, like shampoo, conditioners, soap, hand wash, spare toothpaste, toilet roll, things like that. Make sure that's there. Number 3, to a lesser extent, obviously you can't go and do a massive food shop every time someone checks in, checks out, but just the basics, having like, you know, salt, pepper. People don't want to go and buy that from the shop. So just having salt and pepper there, you know, a bit of tea and coffee. I mean, if you really want to go to that extra mile, you could do like, people do croissants, chocolate, snacks, still sparkling water, milk in the fridge. Number 4 is local knowledge. So, you know, 2-3 restaurant recommendations, nearby supermarket, parking tips, local attractions. Again, I do this in a digital guide with an AI concierge where they can ask it questions and it gives these sort of answers, as well as a local guide breaking down different information like this. So I do that digitally, but that's something you could do physically in a welcome book. And then the personal touch, handwritten notes, guest first name, you know, mention local events, you know, unexpected extras, things like that. So just the checkout experience again, because this is how you're going to leave a lasting impression, and this is going to be the last thing they remember. So just make sure they've got the instructions the day before, the checkout time clearly stated, how they return the keys, where they return the keys. Don't give them too much tasks. Don't be like, right, I need you to put all the rubbish in all the bins. I need you to strip all the beds. I need the keys here. I need you to do this, that, all the, you know, all lights. Obviously, I leave basics like please turn off all the radiators and lights, leave the apartment in a tidy condition and return the keys to the normal location. Okay, they're paying a cleaning fee. If you leave a massive list of things doing, they're going to be like, I've just paid this guy a cleaning fee and he's asking me to do all these things. doesn't work. So just make sure you get the check-in experience, keep the task minimal. They're paying the cleaning fee, so don't have them like, mandated to do loads of things, okay? Don't be aggressive like, oh, we're going to be doing a review of the whole apartment to check for damage. Things like that can put people on edge, because they think they're going to be blamed for things. It's a bit too intense. So you got to leave them on a high, nice farewell message, wishing them a safe journey home. Things like that is obviously a nice thing to do. If they've mentioned anything during their stay, you can reference it. Tell them you'd love to have them back like I do in my review thing, and then write your guest a review. So what is the review strategy? So most hosts wait for the guests to leave the review. That's the wrong order. You should leave the review first, immediately after checkout. Before you've even seen one from them, just leave them a review. They're going to get a notification saying you left a review, and they're going to be more likely to then complete you a review. And if you delivered a great experience and service, then you've got nothing to worry about, have you? And then following up the same day, warm message, like I said before, in the message sequencing, and just respond to every review. So even if someone mentions something in the review, I had a great time, but this happened, just people go back and look at the reviews when they're considering booking your property. So if they see like, oh, I'm really sorry that this happened, we've already had it addressed, they know that that's not going to impact them if they book their stay. So just responding to guest reviews, leaving them the review first, and just following up. Okay, they have 14 days after checkout to leave a review. Okay, nothing's going to appear publicly until you both left each a review, until the 14 days. If you don't leave them a review, then after 14 days it's going to get posted. And there are things, if you leave a guest a really good review and then they absolutely slate you, and you were like, oh my God, I've looked past this, I've looked past that, and now they're leaving me a review, slating me, I'm like, you can contact Airbnb and they'll remove your review. That's something to be aware of. So you can address these sort of things. You can get your own review removed. You can request other people, if they've lied, to have their reviews removed if it affects your Superhost status. I've had loads of guest reviews removed because they just lied. And if you've got the proof, if they say you did something and you didn't, or they say something happened but it was actually them that caused it, you can have them reviews removed. So you can talk to Airbnb about that. They've got a whole process for it. So here are 3 mistakes that can kill your rating, okay? So over-promising in the listing, great photos, but build up an expectation that they can't meet, and it affects the accuracy score. We touched on this earlier. The fix, audit the photos every quarter, make sure that the room looks like them. Simple things like, oh, I had these nice pillows in the thing, but they get there as wrong pillows, or it had froze on the bed to get there, no froze on the bed. Things like that. Just make sure that the photos accurately portray the property. Skipping the mid-stay check. This is a great way for you to diagnose issues before they pop up in the reviews. By doing this, you are gonna get better reviews. So just by implementing the message, you're checking for any issues before they arise. Is there anything you need? This can resolve a lot of issues before they arrive. So that's something you've got to be doing, your mid-stay check messages. Okay, and then another mistake is waiting for the guest to leave a review first. Most guests intend to leave a review and never do, not because they're unhappy, but because life gets in the way. They've got a 14-day window to do it, and that expires quietly. So just, do a follow-up. Make sure the guests check out the same day, have a notification that automatically triggers. I've got an automated, it's easy to do automated messages on Airbnb. You can do that, and if they've been a terrible guest, you click skip and it won't send. By requesting reviews, you're going to get more reviews. So it's just an easy fix to do there. So here's your 30-day Superhost action plan. Week 1, I want you to audit all the listings, photos versus reality, set up the 7 message sequence and automate the messages, like 1, 2, 6 of them in the sequence, but you can automate all of them if you want, apart from mid-stay check-in. Even then you can automate it, but obviously your response has to be, personalized. Week 2, I want you to build out and refresh the welcome pack, or implement a solution like AI check-in guides. Write a personalized note template to the guest, things like that, making the experience more personable. I know it's a bit of a nightmare and logistically challenging, and not everyone can do it, but obviously that can go a long way. You know, standardize the checkout, make sure it's 3 tasks max, don't overload them, asking them to do a million things like rebuild the whole apartment. Week 3, I want you to implement the mid-stay checks, the 24-hour post check-in. Again, this can all be automated, and set them checkout review reminders on Airbnb and check response rates in the host. And when week 4, I want you to review the 6 subcategory scores, see if you're improving. If there's anything that's coming up, like it keeps being an issue about cleaning, then you need to obviously talk to your cleaners and implement the cleaning plan that we spoke about. You know, fix the lowest scoring category first. So whatever it appears, it's great, the Airbnb platform, because you've got all the analytics there and you can see the percentage increases, and if it's going down, and you know that's an issue that you can then focus on, and just keep tracking that every quarter and evaluate. So I hope you've learned a lot in this video. I hope we're going to get you better reviews, get 5-star. Join my free school community where I break down the entire business model about how you can start Airbnb without owning a single property. Follow me on Instagram where I make content every single day about Airbnb. And if you want to get in contact with me, drop me a DM and we can work together and I can help you build your Airbnb business. Leave a comment about what you want to see in other videos and have an amazing day.